welcome aboard the Mother of Steel, fellow cadet. We've heard that you want to fight the Tyrannid scum. Well, starting off, they can be quite a handful. But with these few simple steps, you are going to be able to help your fellow helldivers secure victory. First things first, you're going to want to get the supply pack to provide you and your fellow helldivers with all the resources they need. This is a slept-on stratagem that more people need in their kits, especially against the Tyrannids or timed missions, because these are basically an extra supply drop. If you have 2 people on your team with these, plus your additional supply drop, you can put depots across the whole map as you go across it, and then later on resupply even if you lose your destroyers. It's a very good initial thing to have. So I'll try to get that as quickly as you could. You usually also start off with your machine gun, so that would be in your kit, and you also start off with the precision strike, which is also pretty decent, but the precision strike does have some issues later on depending on what kit and how you use it. The next thing I would probably get right off the bat is the expendable anti-tank rifle. This thing right here, it might not seem like much, but it does put in a lot of work. You can get the cooldown down to 60 seconds. You can attach the drop pod onto a charger to kill a charger when it comes in. So usually when you go into a fight, you'll have one of these on your back. You can drop the pod onto a charger, and then you get 3 shots, which is enough to kill a Titan and an additional charger, or 3 additional chargers. It all just depends on how you want to use it. So at this point, expendable anti-tank. Then you're going to take your supply pack, your machine gun, and then you're going to take the precision that you start off with, which is a pretty solid kit if we're going to be, talking about this. The machine gun early game is going to be able to handle most of the medium tier bugs. Supply pack will provide you with enough ammunition to use it on the field, and then the precision is going to be able to handle bug nests and other bigger things as long as you can nail it. Next thing you'd probably do is go and find the Eagle airstrike. That's going to be the next one that you get. This thing can destroy Tyrannid nests. It can also work for the automatons very well. It can destroy the light and medium bugs. It has a pretty quick cooldown. It can also damage Titans and Chargers, so you can finish them off with this. So it has a lot of utility. With these, I would probably replace the precision strike with this early game. And then later on, if you want to continue the support playstyle, I would go for the orbital EMS strike, which is probably one of the most powerful tools that you can have against the Tyranids, and not enough people run this. You'll rarely see anyone run this, but essentially this has a 75-second cooldown at the very beginning. You can get it down to like 60 seconds or something like that, and it freezes enemies in place except for Bio Titans for like 18 seconds, 20 seconds, something like that, which leaves them wide open for your machine gun or your teammates to pick them off. If you use turrets, this helps with your turrets. If you're using manual machine guns, it just helps you pick things off before they overwhelm you. If you have more teammates that use this EMS strike, you can actually lock them in place inevitably, which will help you a lot with Tyrannid swarms. The only thing it doesn't really lock down is the Titans. Ship modules is kind of up to you to upgrade, to be honest. But if you're going to go for the Eagle strikes, you can get all these Eagle upgrades in the hangar. If you want more orbital stuff later, you can get these orbitals. But the support weapon stratagem cooldown by 10% is very nice for the missile launchers, because the missile launcher essentially replaces your precision strike when it comes to chargers. The precision strike has a 100-second cooldown early game, and the missile launcher gets down to a 60-second cooldown, but they're both used pretty much the same. And then having the maximum amount of magazines will help with your machine gun early. Other than that, you don't really need any of these other things down here, so just keep these hangar upgrades and these starting upgrades here, and then you can specialize into whatever you want afterwards. Mainly these three would be your first stops, and then get this. When it comes for weapons, there's a number of things you can get, but I would say start off with the shotgun that you get at the very beginning of the game, the SG-8 Punisher. Powerful dual pump action shotgun with limited armor penetration, ideal for small and fast targets. 405 damage close range. This can deal with all of the light Tyranids that you're going to deal with, and also some of the bigger ones that don't have heavy armor. You can one-tap them right in the face with this gun. You can also push back the enemies, so it's more of a support weapon for how it's used. Because even if you don't have the best aim in the world and you don't kill your targets, you can push them back, which gives your teammates more time to kill them. Also, this allows you to push them back into your airstrikes. So if you called in an airstrike and you kind of missed it, you can spam this gun and push them backwards into the airstrike and still get it to hit. So it has a lot of utility, and it also is one of the weapons that is really good against the stalkers. As soon as you run into a stalker nest, this thing does very well against the stalkers and also pushes them back. And you can also interrupt jump attacks and things with it, which will help you stay safe. If you want to upgrade from that later, this breaker shotgun is pretty good, but it still doesn't have as much utility as the Punisher, and all these other ones can work, but they don't offer the utility as well as the Punisher. Secondary, the first pistol upgrade you can get is going to be this Redeemer, and I would go for this Redeemer. You don't use it too often on this build setup, and with the new grenade pistol that might come in, you might swap to the grenade pistol so that you can have more grenades for bug hives. But starting early game, I would go for this Redeemer. It has a machine pistol. It basically does everything the Peacemaker does, but better and faster. And this will save you versus hordes and also the jumping bugs and things. This will kind of keep you up when you don't have anything left in the tank. And then when the grenade pistol comes out, you might swap this out for the grenade pistol, just to give you a little bit of extra ammo for the bug hives, because there's a lot of times when you go into a bug hive, you don't have enough grenades to finish things off. And then when it comes for grenades, the special impact grenade is probably the easiest to use for the big bugs, but you could also make arguments for the frag grenade if you want to kill the light targets a little bit faster. Or the high explosive's still fine because it does the same damage as the impact, but you're going to have this higher fuse time of 3 seconds. So if you decide to stick with the high explosive grenade, you're going to have to deal with holding down the fuse and getting used to how far you can throw it before it explodes. But this is also easier to use in the bug hives, and you'll start off with this grenade earlier. The impact grenade, if you want to upgrade to this, works better versus the acid spitters, things like that. And there'll be some new grenades coming, but that's going to be up to you as well. As for armor, there's a number of options that you can start off with. What I started off with was these higher heavy armors for farther reduced recoil while crouching or prone by 30%, which helps your machine gun. But eventually you're going to be able to swap out to medium armor if you want to be a little bit faster, and then lose a little bit of armor rating, but you get more stamina regen. And then you can get this stealth armor early as well. So if you want to play stealthier on the map and have more utility, you can get this scout armor very easily early on, which allows you to kind of spy on the enemy's position and plan your attack before you engage. So this is a very nice thing to have. But if you want something that's super easy to use for the Tyranids, get some of these armors with the med kit. Increases your initial inventory and holding capacity of stems by 2, and then it increases your stem effect duration by 2 seconds. So eventually, when you're fighting the Tyranids and you get swarmed or anything like that, as long as you have stems, you can keep yourself alive pretty regularly as long as you don't get crowd controlled down. Because as long as this stem effect duration is going for 2 seconds, you're going to regen your endurance and you're going to regen your health. And the endurance is another big one when you're trying to run away from titans or you have a whole horde behind you that you can't fight. Being able to pop your stems to regen your stamina is a really big effect to have. So I would look out for some armor like this. There's a few of them that do it. And if you want to go more for the machine gunning and grenade throwing, you can get this armor for the trench engineer. But I would say that the med kit is probably the best thing that you can do. And then essentially when you get to your end game with this, it kind of looks at look at it this way: is you're going to toss down your expendable missile launcher and your supply backpack. Then you'll take your missile launcher, put on your backpack, and you're going to be good to go. The backpack's going to give you all the ammo that you need for your shotgun. In the shotgun, you can load individual rounds, so it's very quick to reload and keep shooting, especially with the supply backpack. So you should never really run out of ammunition. It's very good on the front lines and going on its own, so don't really have to worry about that. The supply box is also going to give you all the grenades that you need. So I personally think that having extra stems is better than having 2 extra grenades at the start of the game. And it'll give you all the grenades, all the ammo, and all the meds that you need. So you're going to get 2, I believe, grenades per use and 2 stems per use, as well as fully refunding all of your primary weapons ammo, and you'll also probably get like 1 mag or 2 for your machine gun later on. There's a lot of effects that you can have with that, but also expendable missile launchers you can put onto your targets to hit them and do extra damage every 60 seconds, which is basically another hit. And it allows your allies to pick up those expendable missile launchers that you leave around the battlefield, which there will be expendable missile launchers left around the battlefield at some point, as well as any spare supply backpacks that you have. So if you have a supply backpack that you can call down and you have leftover supplies in your backpack, then you can just swap them out and then someone can pick it up and use those supplies. But you can also give your supply backpack packs to an ally just by running up to them and pressing E. So it's going to give them their stems, grenades, ammo, all that good stuff. Although I don't know how to use the stems on an ally to heal them while having the backpack, but usually you can run up and heal allies as well with extra stems that you have, which is something that this armor is good for as well. So if you happen to not have your supply backpack, but you happen to fill up your stems, you're going to have those 2 spare stems that you can kind of use for your allies as well. So this is more of a support build, but it has a lot of potential to move on as you find teammates. But it's not hard to get to this point, and you're going to be able to use it pretty much any point in the game for now. And when you're in the game, the EMS strike is going to be one of your main kind of tools to peel targets off of your allies and also set up your own orbital strikes, because it'll freeze everything in place. It'll also help you kite around on enemies, deal with them a little bit easier, and separate chargers and titans and stuff, so you don't have to take them all on at once. And if you have more people with an EMS strike on your team, it just gets that much better. And if you really want to do, a little bit more gunnery and you liked the machine gun early, then you can always swap out your last thing for an auto turret, and a Gatling turret, and then the man turret, instead of using the Eagle Strikes. But the Eagle Strikes can still do a lot of damage to the Titans and the Chargers, and also the Hive. So it's a lot of utility to have early. Hopefully this helps you get into the game a little bit easier. It is a decently solid build when you go into the game. You're not going to have a ton of difficulty, but you will have some situations that you might not be prepared for, but for most things you're going to be able to handle it pretty well. So get out there, Helldivers, show them what you're made of, and I'll see you on the battlefield. Y'all have a good one.